What's up, guys? This is Sebastien again. Back for another round of some recent eBay sales. And maybe you noticed in my previous videos, but I have all these marvelous children's books stacked up behind me. I call them my murder books because, the higher they go, the higher probability they have of, taking me out. So, obviously, my organizational skills are pretty impressive. So I do want credit for that. But without further ado, I'm going to go through some of the recent sales. First one is early 1970s vintage hardcover Dracula and Frankenstein with the reason it was interesting to me is the cover art is by Frank Frazetta, who's one of the greatest, fantasy illustrator artists. He was really practicing, I believe, 60s through the 80s. So yeah, that one sold for $27.99. Sent an offer for that. And usually these hardcovers, I pick them up for around $2.50 in Goodwills and stuff like that. Next, this is from my personal collection, is November 15th, 1967 Vogue U.S. edition, featuring Twiggy on the cover. I feel like 1967 was the year of Twiggy, and she's amazing. I tend to like her pixie cut look, which is so iconic. But yeah, this one sold for $84.99, but there was free shipping. So in the end, I netted around $60. The cost for me, I won it in an auction some years back, and I think it cost me around $20. I'd love to keep most of those, but it's just a space thing, and I'm trying to be a little more choosy in the vintage magazines that I end up keeping for my own collection. Next, this was another Goodwill find. Okinawa aquarium button-up shirt, and I just love the feel of the shirt. It was fairly unique, as I couldn't comp it because it's basically just kind of I don't think they made a lot of these. They were sold at that aquarium out in Japan, but it was a cool design, and that one sold for $31.99. The cost was about $6. Next, Taylor Stitch. Long haul indigo waffle jacket. This one cost about $10 and it sold for $99.99. Next is a vintage children's book. Oh, and I should say that Taylor Stitch is a very good brand and it's very well done. Definitely look out for those. They do a lot of, I think they do a lot of denim wear and stuff like that. I don't do a lot of jeans just because I don't have the knowledge on it, although I am trying to learn a little bit. What I'm doing on for the denim jeans and all that is I have a couple of saved searches on eBay for completed listings, highest to lowest. And so every once in a while I just try and study kind of the highest sold values, kind of train myself a little to what details do you want to look for when you're out there, because the stuff is findable. At least here in Phoenix, talking to a couple guys who are collectors and also resellers on the Levi's stuff. You need to really know the nuances and details on that stuff. But they do find stuff here, like pretty impressive pieces, like what you could sell for, $4,000 or $5,000. It's just a bit of a learning curve, but that's always kind of, to me, part of the fun is you got to build the knowledge and research to kind of figure out what to look for and understand the historical aspects of the pieces and why they might matter. So anyways, next up is this vintage children's book called Timbuktu. It's from 1971. It's sold it for $18.99, and it cost probably about $1. This one was just kind of cool because it's fairly hard to find, and the graphic style is neat. So that's why it stood out to me and why I wanted to pick it up. But that kind of stuff is The vintage children's books, I feel like are a little tricky because the sell-through rates are pretty slow on average, unless you have like key pieces. So my recommendation, I picked that stuff up just because I like it and I'm willing to hold it for a while, obviously. But that's not necessarily a big money niche, but it's one of the ones I really enjoy. Next, this is a interesting one. I don't pick up too many military pieces, not because I don't like them. I just don't always know what to look for necessarily. But this was a vintage M65 OG 107 Vietnam era U.S. military jacket. I believe it was from 1974. I got it for about $10. And sold on offer or someone sent an offer for $64.99. And it's notable, one of my buddies who's actually has a vintage clothing store here, who I only met recently, but he's very nice and knowledgeable. I sent him some of the photos when I first got this piece because I was like, oh, this is cool. I think it's from the Vietnam era, but I don't know much about that stuff. And he immediately told me what it was, that it's pretty well known as being the jacket that Robert De Niro wears in Taxi Driver, and that it's one of the more common pieces from that era to find, but it always sells well. So that was interesting to learn about. Then these next two are comics I found out on the west side here in Phoenix. I found them all together. And they were just kind of a bunch of comics put in bags. And usually, I don't really care too much about single issue comics. It's just not as much my thing, although I understand why they'd be very collectible. But I will look at them and see if anything stands out to me, because I do love comics in general. So it's kind of ironic that I don't really care for collecting single issue stuff. But this first one is The Monster of Frankenstein from 1973, issue number 1. And this one sold for $65, and it cost about $1. So it's pretty cool. Had a cool cover. And since it was the first in that series, I was just like, oh, I'll just look this up just in case. And then next, and this lot of 5, I paid also about, that one I paid about $4. Was a Transformers limited series. I think most of them were the limited series from 1984, and they're actually pretty good condition. These ones sold for $89, and it's possible you could probably grade these, or maybe grade these and sell them for a lot more. Personally, I hate grading. I did a lot of sports cards, and I just I understand in terms of preserving material why it can be good, but it's like grading makes it harder for you to interact with the object because now it's encased in plastic. But I mean, I guess you could say do that with a lot of high-end art too. You have to protect it and all that. But anyways, for cards, especially for magazines and books, it's like, I mean, you can't look inside it anymore. The core original utility of the object's taken away, which, annoys me, but that's probably just an old man rant. Next is vintage Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion concert t-shirt. I don't find a ton of vintage concert t-shirts, but I think maybe as I keep going along and maybe getting better at knowing what to look for is getting a little easier. This one I had originally listed for $119.99. Sold on offer for $85. And, Guns N' Roses always has a soft spot in my heart because that was one of the first CDs I ever got as a kid was Appetite for Destruction. And, I didn't know what a lot of the songs were about, but I thought they sounded amazing. And I still love it, actually. My buddies who were kind of music snobs, I remember this, maybe it was in late teens or something. They were making fun of me for liking Guns N' Roses because they just called it cock rock. So I just thought that was funny, and now it's never left my mind how they thought of it. I'm like, if it's good, it's good. Next was a vintage, and I believe it's 90s Mercedes-Benz sweater. And I just thought it's cool. These kind of things that are tied to interesting or like core brands, when it's a little bit vintage, can be very collectible. So this one listed for 99. Someone sent an offer for 50, and I was like, fine. I mean, I could have waited longer and gotten closer to my list price, but that's okay. Sometimes just take the money and work it back in to the system. Next, this is one of my favorite artists. So it's the Big Golden Book of Little Verses, illustrated by Mary Blair, and it's from 1953, sold for $32.99. Originally, I'd picked it up online some years back, just for my personal collection. Cost about $10 to $15. I think that's including the shipping. I got it fairly cheap for what it was, in my opinion. But she's notable as being, one of the greatest animation artists of all time, coming into Disney. I think she was working 30s, maybe her career started in the 30s, but I'm not 100%. But her heyday was like really late 40s and 50s. She's kind of like, to me, the Babe Ruth of animation. Just color composition is just truly astounding. And so she did, the same time, she did some children's books as well. So there's a decent amount of animation artists who probably, just to make extra money or actually get a little more credit under their name, because Disney didn't always, well, Mary Blair had enough pull that she could get credit, but a lot of those artists just didn't get enough credit for the work they were doing. So at least here, when they do children's books, they can put their name right on it and people know it's their work. So quite a few of them would do children's books, and a lot of them are really, really beautifully done, because animation training is pretty hardcore, and so you end up having pretty high skill levels with that, I think. And this last one, these ones I try and look out for, those kind of ethnic sort of clothing pieces. This one being a traditional Slavic Russian linen tunic shirt, rubacha embroidered. And that one sold for a list at $99.99. So I don't know much about this particular the culture around this piece, but I thought it was interesting. Just, had nice embroidery. You don't see it often. So that was a very good sale. I like all the different cultures have a range of interesting clothing that they've made, whether it's, more traditional, whether it's more street, whether it's more, there's a whole spectrum. So it's always fun to kind of learn about, and it's fun to try and find more interesting pieces that are maybe you don't come across too often. So that's some of the recent sales. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, corrections are always appreciated, or even added, context or information around any of the items. It's always fun to learn. And I hope you guys have a good one. And until the next time, take care. Bye-bye.